off the talents of the Ashland High School students on December 22nd, where they will sing and compete for a $100 Amazon gift card in front of many of the school committees, and it will also be streamed on WACA-TV. And lastly, the National Honor Society wanted to honor the veterans, and they had their annual fundraiser called Field of Flags, where they sell flags associated with veterans of foreign wars, and to support them and honor them for Veterans Day. Thank you.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you.
Thanks, all of you. You guys have a lot of great things going on, and we really appreciate whenever you can come in and share it with us. And so next up, we also have some...
So before we move on, I just
before we move on...
I just wanted to say, relative to the Pumpkin Fest, a big thank you. All right, so that was so successful. The community obviously needed it. You all did a fantastic job, and I know it was Stuco. I know Make-A-Wish Club did their thing too. So hopefully that you realize the value that you all have in contributing. So my hope is that we can combine the efforts that were previously done for Ashland Day and this, and going forward. I know it was a lot of work this time, but hopefully we can give you the support to continue making the contribution, because that had a totally different vibe than Ashland Day, and it was really, really great. So thank you very much for doing that.
I will say just one more update on Pumpkin Fest. The leader of the student council, his name is Mr. Wixer, one of the teachers at the high school, has announced...
we know him.
Yeah, has announced
To
that
know him is to love
this
him.
was the first and last Pumpkin Fest that he will be hosting.
He needs a little help next time around.
So I think that, as far as I understand, the situation is that the efforts will be combined into a bigger, better Ashland Day in the future, as opposed to two separate programs.
Well, excellent job, everybody. And it's a good thing to bring the community together like that on a fun holiday. So next up, we have some students from the Make-A-Wish Club who are now my friends to talk about a trip that we all took together, a service trip to Give Kids the World in Florida. And I don't know if you guys have worked out who's going to go first in the order, but whoever does come up first, if you could just tell all of us, because there might be someone watching that doesn't know, what this is and why we do it. And we've had some of you guys, not you in particular, but from the Make-A-Wish Club, come in the past and ask us to approve the trip and so forth. But it occurs to me every year, but especially this year, how much of what happens on this trip really goes to all of the core values that we're talking about all the time, of service and hard work and integrity and compassion. And I know, because I see like the transformation in all of your eyes, that you come back a different person than the person that you were when you went there. And so I wanted to invite you to share a little bit about your experience with my colleagues as well as the community. So whoever wants to go first, if you could just in the beginning, just add a little bit about what it is and why we go.
It's not as bad as it seems.
I could call on Ms. Shields for that, but she might not appreciate that.
So my name is Lauren Ellis. I'm actually the president of Make-A-Wish, and this was my second time going on the Give Kids the World trip. For those of you who don't know, the Give Kids the World trip is an annual trip that the Ashland Make-A-Wish Club has done for many years now, where we go down to Orlando, Florida. We stay in a hotel. We get up very early and stay very late to serve in the village and make the vacations for the families as stress-free as possible. They already have enough stress in their life, having a wish child in their family, a child that is possibly terminally ill. It's very sad, but them being able to go on that trip is so heartwarming for the families, and you can see how much it impacts them, how happy they are to be there, and the work that we put in to make it super fun for the kids and super non-stressful for the parents. It really means a lot to them. So I'm really happy that I've been able to be a part of it for the past 2 years now. So my reflection going on this second trip it was very different from my first. Since COVID has kind of passed, hopefully, there was a lot more shifts that we needed to do. So I got to work in a variety of different areas this time and see a lot more of the village. I worked in the kitchen a lot. I was a shuttle driver for families. And I got to work some of their themed parties as well. This gave me the opportunity to kind of see more of the village and interact with a lot more families one-on-one, which was very cool because every year we've worked really hard here. Even when I haven't been on the trip, just in the high school, we work hard to raise money to grant the wishes for those families. So it was really nice to see, like, that's who we're granting the wishes for, and that's how much it means to them. And so all the times, like, I would say thank you to the families. Like, if someone held the door for me, I would get a thank you back and be like, no, thank you. Like, you're doing so much here. Like, we're so proud of you. And it made me feel so wanted and needed. And it was a really, really great feeling. And I knew that what I was doing really mattered. Sorry, I'm getting emotional.
Me too.
I really...
I looked over at her because she was going to start crying.
Next to me. He's got the tissues, that's why.
I might need to borrow some.
Oh, honey, do you need a hug?
Oh, no, I'm okay. I'm happy.
Yes.
I'm so happy.
Yeah, it's a good emotional. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite moments were the hugs and the high fives and the smiles that I received from different children, and hearing my own name repeated times from families that I would see again and again, because it just meant to me that they'd remember me and I was that impactful to them. And even if they don't remember me a long time from now, I know that they will remember the kindness that I showed them, them and their whole families. And it's really important to me that I made their day, and they made mine. And I think that I've learned that kindness is a really, really impactful thing, because, I mean, it can make or break a day for someone to show you kindness. And I think that whether I was scooping cottage cheese for families or saying good morning to people or offering them a ride, it meant so much. And kindness is really contagious. I found that. And every time someone would ask me about what we were doing and I explained it to them, they were like, wow, that's so cool. And they wanted to do it too. I had a girl who was going to the University of Austin, Texas, ask me, like, how can I do this at my school? Like, I want to bring this program to my school. And so I knew that I was doing a lot. And kindness is really contagious and it matters so much. And I'm really glad that I got to bring that to so many families with this trip. And I know that I'll come back again to Give Kids the World with my friends or my family someday. So I'm really happy that Ashlyn was able to give this to me. So thank you.
Thank you. That was beautiful. Thank you. I know.
Hi,
Hello.
my name is Peyton McMullen. I am a board member at the Ashland Make-A-Wish Club, and alongside that, I am also a Massachusetts and Rhode Island Make-A-Wish ambassador, where me and around 20 other high school students meet monthly to create more fundraisers to raise another goal of $10,000, which is around the cost of a wish these days. And a Make-A-Wish has had such a large impact on my life that I never could have imagined. So. And Give Kids the World has only made that impact stronger. So going into this trip, I knew it was going to be an incredible experience, but was blind to the effects that it would have on me. I have heard stories from my sister and my older friends that have had the opportunity to experience this before, yet never fully comprehended the feelings that they described when talking about Give Kids the World. The second I walked into that village, I think I knew I had found my new favorite place on this earth. The vivacious colors of the buildings, the thousands of lights present, the life-size Candyland, the beautiful pool, and the smiles that light up kids' and families' faces are only some of the features that make this village so incredibly special. At my first shift at Cafe Clayton, I was lucky enough to work with the trays, and there I was able to interact with countless wish children and their families. However, there was one child that I instantly made a connection with, and his name was Caleb. I met Caleb when I asked him if he needed help with his tray while he was going around and getting food for dinner, and he answered with a great big smile on his face, yes. I was able to tell from the start that Caleb was such a happy and gracious kid. And a time with him that made me smile is when I asked him if he needed anything more to eat, such as waffles, and from there he started to jump up and down with pure excitement because he was unaware that waffles were an option. We walked over to the waffle station, and that is where he piled up on the whipped cream and sprinkles. And in that line, I had the pleasure of meeting his entire family, which were all so sweet and gracious towards me. And I learned about their lives and what their plans were for that week. I will never forget how sweet and grateful they were towards me and the Ashland High School Make-A-Wish Club. At my ice cream shift the next day at Henry's, which is an ice cream parlor at Give Kids the World, Caleb and his 4 siblings stopped in to get some ice cream for breakfast. One of my favorite memories from this trip is when they saw me working, and big smiles were once again plastered on their faces as they yelled, "Hi, Peyton." Here, I was able to have a more in-depth conversation with Caleb's family, and it was so heartwarming when Caleb's mother told me that when they went to Disney the previous day, Caleb would not stop talking about how sweet I was towards him, and with helping him with carry his tray and even get his lemonade. And they said it made him feel special. That moment right there is exactly what I came on this trip for, but never thought I would fully experience. Seeing and hearing the direct impact you have on these families' lives is so surreal, because all of the things I was doing for Caleb were because I wanted to, and in my mind were tiny details that I hope would slightly make his day better. But hearing how my actions have had such a difference, enough of one where his mother asked me for my phone number so I could text her when I'm in Delaware for a possible college tour, is something that I know I will never forget, and makes me realize that in my life, a goal that I will always strive to achieve is to help people the way that I've helped Caleb. The way he smiled and how happy his family looked is something that should never be overlooked, and I want to make more families feel like this. Because especially ones that are living in similar unfortunate circumstances. That morning where I had to say goodbye was one of the most emotional experiences I have ever had to endure. I talked with them at breakfast at Cafe Clayton for at least 15 minutes, and it was there that Caleb would not stop telling me all about his day at Universal Studios and how much fun he was having on those roller coasters. Not only him, but also his siblings too were so excited to tell me everything. It was when I said I had to go that his younger sister Hannah gave me a hug, and every single family member said thank you for everything that you have done for us, and I felt a wave of emotions flow over me. His mother even told me after that his younger sister rarely hugged anyone, and it was only characters at Disney parks and myself that she had even come close to. So it made me feel really special inside. The way I talked with his family, it was like we were lifelong friends, and I sometimes forgot the whole reason that they were at the village in the first place. Then I stopped to look around, and I see all these families, and it hit me how every single family there has been affected with illness, and yet they are still here smiling. No one should ever have to go through what these families have, but unfortunately, that is not how this world works. I want to make it a lifelong goal of mine to help as many of these families, like Caleb's, as possible, because now I know that even the smallest acts of kindness can have the greatest lifelong effects on our lives. For example, on the last night, when myself and Lauren, Michael, and Kira, and 3 others played tagged and listened to stories about 3 children's lives at the life-size Candyland for about an hour. The fact that these kids felt comfortable enough to share the hardest details of their lives with us, and that they really wanted to spend their final moments at the Give Kids the World Village with us, and were devastated when we had to go, was so rewarding, especially when they introduced us to their parents. This trip has made me even more proud to be a part of the Make-A-Wish Club at my school. The amount of people that have come up to me and thanked us for our hard work is incredible, and I want to continue to make them proud and create a difference. Passionate does not even begin to describe the way I feel about this Make-A-Wish organization, and this trip has strengthened that feeling more than I ever would have imagined. I do not think there will ever be a day that goes by where I do not reminisce about my experience with Give Kids the World. I'm going to tell everyone I know about it and try to portray these indescribable feelings I have experienced. But I know these feelings can only be experienced in person, unfortunately. From the second I stepped on that plane to come home, I have started the countdown to the number of days until I can return next to Give Kids the World Village. Thank you.
Thanks, Peyton. Kira?
Hello, my name is Kira, and I am the Make-A-Wish Club's Give Kids the World coordinator. Having been on this trip before, I was overjoyed to come back again. My first time at Give Kids the World was amazing, and it made it into most, if not all, of my college applications. And the second time I went, I felt no difference in the love that I had for the place, only difference in the experience that I had. During my first trip, I had the opportunity to work in the Castle of Miracles, and from the moment I stepped in there, I was instantly in love. Every Wish kid gets a chance to place a star, and they get to write their name on it and send it off to be placed in the castle. And while I was working there, I had the opportunity to meet this family, and there was a little girl, and she was absolutely full of life. And, you know, even when she was putting her star up, she was writing her name, and before we did the star ceremony, she just had so much energy for a little girl. And there's a part of the castle known as the pillow party, where a little squirrel takes you on a little adventure in order to find your pillow. And one of the parts of the party is to hug somebody that you love. And immediately this little girl ran over and gave her older brother the biggest hug I've ever seen. And I just thought of me and my brother, and it was moments like those that I realized absolutely how lucky I am to have the life that I have. But she just reminded me of all the love that these little kids have despite everything that they're going through. And I've always remembered that little girl, even if I'm not sure she remembered me. But on this trip, I had another opportunity to meet with a family that reminded me of the love that, you know, all these kids have that Peyton mentioned. So on our last night in Give Kids the World, there was, I met with these 3 kids. There were a 9-year-old girl, she was the older sister, or she was the younger one, and then she had a twin brother and an older sister. And I first met them earlier that night when I was working at my shift in Amberville, which is an area with some attractions. And a little boy wandered in. He was looking at the trains, and I asked him where his parents were, and he said that they were down at the cafe. And not to scare him, but I informed him that he was not allowed to be here by himself, so I looked at the trains with him while I called guest services to walk him back to his parents. And later that night, I was with Lauren, and we were walking down to the playground, and some of my friends called me into the playground to meet up with their new friends. And there I saw the little boy that I had met during my earlier shift, and instantly he remembered me as the kid, as the girl that was there and told him he could not be there without his parents. And I was like, wonderful. And for the next hour, we talked with these kids, and the oldest, Eleni, showed us photos of her horses, her koi fish, her dogs, and her cats, and all about their life back in Oklahoma. And I loved getting a chance to talk to these kids for just like over an hour. And as they showed us parts of their lives, we were able to show them parts of our lives, the sports we've played and how we played the same sport. We showed them photos of our pets when they showed us photos of theirs, and we explained to them our life in Massachusetts. And at one point, the youngest girl, Daisy, wanted to play tag with us. And so we all agreed, and these little kids were incredibly speedy. I did not realize how slow and out of shape I was until I started playing tag with these kids and was immediately tired. One time when I was in tag, I was struggling very hard to get anyone, and Delaney reached her hand up to the top part of the playground that I was standing in and offered to take the position of tagger from me. It was a slightly humbling moment, but it was a sweet one nonetheless. We didn't stop playing tag until a attendant came and told us that he had to close the gates to the playground. But even then, the kids decided that they did not want to leave us, and they walked us over to their villa, and we got a chance to meet their parents. And their parents thanked us for all the time that we had spent with their kids. They told us that they could hear us laughing from their villa, and it was really nice to not only meet these kids, but to meet their families and to hear how thankful that they were for everyone that they had met in the village, and how their parents were telling us about they were very close to the playground, so they could hear all of our laughs while they were playing tag. And when it was finally time for us to leave and to go catch our bus back to the hotel, the kids asked when we would see them next, and we told them that the next morning was our very last shift, but that we would see them at breakfast. And the next morning, it wasn't until 9:50, 10 minutes before the cafe closed, that we saw this family walk in, and we got to say our very last goodbyes to them. And it was hard, but they gave us hugs and they said goodbye for the last time. And the littlest girl, Daisy, she had leukemia, but despite that, she had the brightest smile on her face. And she was a ball of light and energy at every moment I saw her. And she reminded me why I wanted to work with kids, and that, even when they're going through the hardest of things, they have the brightest smiles on their faces. And Delaney, the older sister, had an amazing bond with her siblings. And Give Kids the World remains a constant reminder in my life of why I want to work with kids when I'm older and help them keep these smiles as they fight battles tougher than I could ever imagine. And I'm thankful for Give Kids the World for always reminding me of what I want to do and just of how amazing kids can be.
Thanks, Kira.
Thank you.
Michael. Hello, sir.
Hi. My name is Michael. Here, I'm going to move this up, actually. All right. Hi, my name is Michael Ellis. I'm just a member of Make-A-Wish, not a board member or anything, but it's my second year going to Give Kids the World, and it was better than ever. I mean, I really enjoyed being there, and I was really happy to help all the families that were there. While volunteering there, I learned a lot about how much the service we do helps in families in need. While I was bussing tables during breakfast, I overheard a family say something that helped me realize our impact. One of the family members said that they did not just get everything that they had received, but earned it after going through hell. And they said these people understand and they want to help, which I really thought of because it really reminded me of why I wanted to be there and how much it meant to these families that we were there. Another time, me and Miss Tossi, actually, we were working at Amberville with the attractions, and a mom came up to us and was saying that she has really mixed emotions about the whole thing because she's sad that she has to be there, but really happy that there's a place where she can have her family and be happy and have a stress-free vacation while they're going through all of this. And just family interactions like that really helped me understand why we were there and how important it is for the families to have this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, gosh. First of all, I want to say, if you're a parent or a teacher or an administrator working with any of these students and all of the students that have gone on this trip, you should be so very proud of them. They really are amazing, and you got a taste of it here, but these are young adults that, again, they were so helpful and compassionate, and we got so many compliments about how, outgoing they were and how helpful they were and how hard they worked. And, everyone thinks we're flying off to Orlando, and I'm not sure what they think we're doing there. But, the truth is, although we do manage to have a little bit of fun, and that's okay, but we are working with families that have critically and terminally ill children, some of them more than once. Some of them are there. We met one family that they were there as alumni, and they were going into the castle to see the star of their son who was no longer with them. I mean, this is what we're doing when we're there, and our sole purpose is to give them 1 week in their life where they can not think about what's going on. And these kids, I mean, that's one reason why I love to be there myself, but the best part about being involved is seeing you guys come to the understanding of what it is to help another person. And there's, there's different kinds of joy, right? Like eating an ice cream is fun, going to Disney World is fun. When you help somebody like that, it just has like this eternal, lasting effect on you and them and all the other people that they're spreading all the information to. So it is just, I'm so proud of you, and hopefully everyone in your life is so proud of you too. Ms. Shields, who does an amazing job putting the whole thing together. And it really does have a ripple effect. We've had several people actually come up to us and ask us how to organize such a thing in their community. People took my name, people took Ms. Shields' names. People want to write about what they've done. We meet all different kinds of people there, which is another really interesting thing, because there are all walks of life there. Nobody pays for this vacation if you are a guest at Give Kids the World. So you get people who it's the first and only vacation they've ever taken in their life, and ever maybe will. And then, there are other people that maybe are more comfortable in this kind of environment, but it doesn't matter. The one thing that unites everybody is that they're all struggling with something really serious and they all need a break, and you guys have stepped up so much. And that night, a few of the students mentioned the night that they were playing tag with the kids in the playground, and that's actually kind of unusual. That was after our shifts, after we had been working for several days. It was one of the last nights. And I think the kids were just waiting for some other kids, right, to be done with our shifts. I was still on my shift, and I was driving the pizza cart that night, which you probably remember, because I drove by and I heard this like joy coming from the playground. It's pitch black, but there's all kinds of laughing, and you could just tell that there was a group of people that were having like such a blast. And I was like, what is that? And I'm driving my little golf cart delivering pizza. And all of a sudden I hear, Mrs. Tosti. And I'm like, what? And they're like, the doors are open to my pizza thing. Like the doors are flying like crazy. I'm supposed to be delivering pizza. So it was just really, I'm like, oh, thank you. I had to pull over, close my doors. But just the opportunity to kind of drive by and like be like a little witness to that. It really was something special. And and I know we've taken a lot of your time tonight, and I'm going on, and we can go on forever about it, because it's just such an amazing thing. And I'll say too, I have to say this, from the plane ride there, I looked around, and every single kid that I could see was doing their homework. No joke. And multiple conversations during the week about, how stressed people were because of work that they had piling up while they were away doing this, and pressures that they were going to have when they got back. And I so appreciate how hardworking everybody is and how seriously they take their schoolwork, and it's super important. But, if you put that against what we were doing and what we were there for, and, it really puts a lot of things into perspective. And I just hope that, we can continue, Ashland can continue to go down there and make that kind of impact, and that everybody gets why we do it. And I want to thank you all so much, because you're amazing. You're going to do amazing things with your lives. I'm so proud of all of you. Does anyone have any questions about?
I was getting teary listening to all of you. I love not only what you all did and the gift you gave to those families, but the gift you gave to yourself too, and how deeply, I'm going to get emotional talking about it, but how deeply each one of you felt the impact you made on other people. And I think that's such an incredible growth opportunity for you guys at this age as well too. And I hope, and I think based on how you've shared your experiences with us, that this is going to be the first of many. Some of you have already had the opportunity to do this specific volunteer opportunity more than once, but this is I feel like it's helped set you guys on a path where you're going to look for these opportunities in your life, because you've realized how valuable they are, not just to the people you're helping, but to yourselves as well. And so I applaud you all for what you did, and I hope you know how proud the whole community is of you all.
Anybody else?
Yeah, just, I've heard her talk about it for years now. I've wanted to do it, and I listen to people talk about like the sports and different things, and the records don't mean anything if they're not. This is the stuff that means something, right? I want to know that our athletic teams and our clubs are building character along the way and doing those things, and hopefully, like I said, this is contagious, and that all those people you see down there, they're going to go back, and they're in our community here somewhere. I know somebody went on that had a wish. You can do that every day, right? You can just go and something you do, you don't know what's going on with somebody else. You just keep on doing what you did down there here, and you never know the impact that's going to have. Here you got the bonus of that feedback, but just if you're doing it every day, it's going to happen, and you just don't always get the feedback. You don't understand the impact you can have every day.
In the ripple effect that what you did has, it's not just the people that you were with that you impacted, that that joy and that comfort that you gave those families ripples not just to the people you met, but to people they know and their families and other people that they'll go on to serve because of the example that you set. So good job.
So true. So, thank you guys so much. I
Now we're all
appreciate you being here.
crying.
I know.
And thank you, Ms.
Good
Shields,
tears,
for
good
organizing
tears.
it
Yes,
again.
Ms. Shields is
All
the
work you
queen
do.
of Make-A-Wish, for sure. And I want to just add, too, I don't know if everybody knows this, but I was lucky enough to be invited to attend, from the Make-A-Wish organization, invited Ms. Shields to something earlier this year, and she invited me as her guest. And she won an award because of what this club has. How many wishes have you granted as a club?
As a club, we have done 8.
8 wishes. So 8 families that we've directly from Ashland sent on whatever wish they chose. And Ms. Shields was recognized for that because, you know, without you, this just would not have ever happened. So thank you all. You're awesome.
you.
Yes, thank you.
Have a good night. Thanks for being here to share it with us too.
All right, who wants to talk about
Now the stuff that's not really important at all, right?
Those favorite parts of the
I
meetings.
know.
Can we do more of that?
That's why we do this, right?
You want to
It's
talk about the
like-
calendar? or
Right,
something
now we
like
got to talk about
I
the school
know.
calendar. Thanks, Jim. This time of year, we try to get the calendar out for families to start making plans. And we're in a unique situation this year, obviously, with the Mendez building project being, you know, we're not 100% confident everything will be perfectly done and ready to go by the beginning of school. And you know, certainly the more time we can afford our construction crew to make sure that that building specifically is ready to go. I feel like we should do that. And I had conversations with Michelle Smith, president of the union, about our professional development days and moving. We have 3 full days throughout the year, 2 at the beginning and 1. So, for instance, we're having 1 in January. So, you know, I discussed moving that professional development day to the beginning of the year, so it doesn't impact a student. So we pick up a school day, if you will, throughout the year, and this way we would actually start school the Tuesday after Labor Day. Teachers would come in Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday they're off because of contractual obligations. And then it's a pretty normal calendar from there. And the caveat is we move that professional development day up, and our last day of school technically is the 17th if we had no snow days. Obviously, we typically have on average about 2.5 over at least the 9 years I've been here. That's what we've averaged. So that could put us at the end of the week. Adding the Juneteenth holiday, a state holiday, really impacts our calendar a lot. If you notice, even this year, instead of coming back on a Monday, we've got to come back on a Tuesday. And there are things that we, just because of the way the holiday falls. So I'm just looking for approval of this calendar. It's pretty standard. I will say that I do believe this committee needs to have a deeper and richer conversation with regard to how we're observing our religious holidays in our calendar moving forward, and whether that means surveying the community and getting feedback. There's potential that we could be running up against a June 29th, June 30th end date in some calendar years with 5 snow days. And as you know, we can't go past June 30th. And the conversation with regard to do we just have one vacation, the February and the April vacations, have one in March. We've had those conversations in the past, and we've done surveys, and those did not go over well. But that being said, I do think it would behoove us as a group to have that conversation for future calendars.
I think it's a summer conversation, and if you
It's
guys.
a conversation.
Right,
That's all
and
I'm
if
saying.
you guys agree with this, I think if we are going to talk about it at the summer workshop, then it would be nice to have the feedback before we get to the workshop, so we have something
Right.
to work with.
Right. No,
So,
absolutely.
Unless you think the timing of it,
No,
I
no,
mean,
no,
we can
no,
talk
this-
about it at the workshop, but then we're going to have to then
Yeah.
go the feedback
We're-
and then have
we're
another.
not-
Well, so, but I think,
Right.
I think the caveat there is we need a conversation to know what we need feedback on.
Correct.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
I've got
We can't just say,
questions. that-
topic, discuss, right? We
Right.
need to say, here's our.
Well,
here's-
we
here's
have
where
done
the
surveys
things-
in this
the
area
thing- the
before. I
things
don't,
we're-
yeah.
I certainly can present to the committee the survey that we put out. It's probably been 7 years now, anyway.
we've done that in the
The questions that we asked and see if they're still relevant with regard to the calendar. Again, I'm not looking for us to implement anything except moving between 24 and 25. So
Right.
this is the calendar I'm proposing for
Yeah.
next year.
Yeah.
I think it suits our purpose to really assist with the building project, and.
Phil will be very happy with us. if we
Right,
do that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that just gives us some leeway. I'm not comfortable starting 4 of the schools before and then holding it back a school. I think families, especially who have
Right.
kids and all over, in different buildings, need that continuity when we start.
Yep.
So that's my proposal for the calendar.
I think moving the professional development day was
Yeah.
a big help, and we
Yeah.
can shift those things. so.
In terms of the timing, is that gonna meet their needs in terms of what they need for the building? I mean, obviously, it sounds like.
Well, it's the most we can do, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally,
Yeah.
so
You're gonna have
that,
to figure it
so next summer.
It's better than not
Yeah,
having it,
yeah.
believe me.
Next summer,
so
we
we-
need
It's all we
every
have to work with.
hour we
Yeah.
can get, so hopefully we have fewer snow days. I mean, literally, as the last person walks out the building, they're gonna start
During it.
ripping things out and tearing it down.
Yeah.
So, because we need to get the ends of the building down so we can complete the loop road and the,
Yeah.
and the bus, and the drop-off
Yeah.
loop, though, so.
So I'm just looking for approval.
Who's got a
So we can
motion?
publish the calendar.
I move to approve the 2022-2023, or 2023-2024 calendar as presented.
Second.
And then all in favor, Paul?
Aye.
Tina?
Aye.
Aaron?
Aye.
And I for me, thank you.
Great, thanks.
Okay, next up, we have a whole list of policies, and it looks very intimidating, but what this is
So,
really,
Yeah, so
Paul-
It's not.
so it's not,
Yeah.
it's not intimidating.
Yeah.
So what we did is, we've been, you and I have been a little lax on the policy front as far as keeping up with bulletins and different changes from MASC. So what this is, all of them aside from the last one, school choice, which maybe I'll have Jim talk about, are simple adoptions of the MSC updates, and I'll just go over it. Most of them are non-substantive updates to those policies, so I'll just go through them. So in the student discipline, the first one, they had changes from parents to parents/guardians, so they accept changes. And there was a section that used a superscript to qualify something. Instead of that, they actually just took the superscript and inserted it in the text. So otherwise, there's no change from what our policy was based on. The MSC policy, there's no changes other than that. So it's not a substantive change to that one. Dress code, same thing. It's just parents and guardians changes there. The first one, AC, non-discrimination, including harassment and retaliation. They updated the policy name. That wasn't the policy name before, and it require. We need to. Now it's a form-based thing. We have to update the template one with our information. They added a little bit more supporting language preceding the bulleted list of statements there, but nothing substantive. And number 5 removed the aspects of all segments of society portion of it, but again, that doesn't change much of anything. And lastly, there's a couple of them that did this. It adds the expanded race definitions that came from the state. So that was the only changes there. ACR, it's not one that we currently have. So that's just adopting theirs. We reviewed it. There's nothing alarming there.
and if it's an R, right, it means it's a regulation. Yeah?
Yeah, it typically defines things, but it defines some things in there. It also has the coordinator's contact information. So this one, along with the other AC, we're going to approve and have them have Jim input the coordinators into this one and our district.
And they are in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it gets actually put into the faculty handbook as well, so,
Yeah.
the coordinators.
Right. Then the equal opportunity GBA, that just expanded language to include more categories of people, and it also expanded the race definition as well. So nothing substantive there. Professional hiring, it just removed the second sentence. Again, that's not substantive. And just like the equal opportunity, expanded the categories of people and the race definition. So that one also removed. There was a section of law that was quoted in there, and they just removed that. So it's just reference. They shouldn't be quoting any laws. They should only be referencing them. So that's just removed as well. So those are all. I think we're just looking to accept the
MASCs. I think we still do have to vote on each policy separately.
We can do one and just list out the policy names. We don't need to take separate votes on every single policy.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah. As long as our motion is explicit. Right.
Okay, well, why don't we take the vote then, and then we can do school choice
Sure.
last?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Because it would be a different
Just say JIC,
motion, yeah.
right.
Okay, so we're looking for a motion.
Motion, so I move to accept the following MASC versions of policies for JIC student discipline, JICA student dress code, or student dress, sorry, not dress code, AC non-discrimination, including harassment and retaliation, ACR non-discrimination, including harassment and retaliation, GBA equal opportunity employment, GCF professional staff hiring, GB equal educational opportunities, as described.
Second.
And then all in favor, Aaron? I see your mouth moving, but.
I got you. I heard you.
Tina?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Aye for me. And then Jim, if you want to just give us some words on JFBB school choice.
Yeah, with school choice, it's within your packet. You'll notice there's some red line strikeouts that I provided. Again, we were looking at the MASC policy, and they have some different dates, but we feel comfortable with our own dates that we use, so we didn't change anything. But number 3, the resident students be given priority placement in any class or programs within the district. We do not feel that's appropriate. I don't know how it got in there originally, but it was. So it is what it is.
It's part of the MASC
So
policy.
it probably was. So number 3 was removed, which then the new 3 was 4. And the other piece was number 6, it was our number 6 originally. Again, removed it for the language under number 5 again, which expands the definition of race through the acts of 2022. So there's nothing substantive other than we're keeping our own dates that we had. They were proposing in July and in August, and we feel that we need that information earlier rather than later. So.
Yeah, so that one we're not accepting theirs. I think
Just
the one that had the expanded race definition, we're accepting their version of that. So it's a blended one.
Whoops.
So I would, are there any questions about it, I guess, first?
No,
No.
that makes sense, yeah.
So then I would make a motion that we approve the policy JFBB school choice as presented.
Second.
All in favor, Paul?
Aye.
Tina?
Aye.
Aaron?
Aye.
Aye for me. Thank you. Anybody have anything on the minutes of October 20? Oh, I didn't miss the superintendent's report.
Superintendent and warrant
approvals.
Just like jumped right
Wait,
ahead.
where's the warrant approvals?
Yeah.
Actually, I don't see them on my agenda.
It's on mine.
Is it?
It's on mine.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
It's on the back. It's on the back
No,
side.
it's in a weird place on
Yeah,
the back.
no
But
worries.
anyhow,
So
superintendent update, please.
Very short. We're a lot of things going on. Obviously, continuing policy work. We're working towards the budget. That's the first iteration. Actually, hit my desk today, and Chris and I are meeting tomorrow to work through some things. We're steadfastly aware that the next 4 weeks we actually have 20 school days, which is amazing. And walking the school, staff's like, Jim, this is like our longest stretch of the year, which is, it's good. It's also students, coming back into school right now. The transition back after 4 or 5 days off has been a challenge for many of our youngsters. And as we continue to look at policy, we're continuing to look at the budget. We will be reviewing scheduling at the middle school. I've had that conversation in the past, that we're going to continue to look at the best schedule possible for our school district, and that impacts budgeting, it impacts class sizes, it impacts all those things. So, as you know, I've talked a little bit about the schedule previously, with the discovery block and the teaching of 5 content classes and how that impacts class sizes. We just received another update from the NESDAQ for our projected enrollment, so I've got to decipher all this information and then figure out what's the most appropriate move forward with the budget and staffing. So all these things will be coming to a head over the next month and a half, 2 months, where we'll have in-depth conversations about each school in particular, and what their enrollments look like. I give an example. The middle school is graduating, 247 kids, right? 8th grade kids going to the high school. Well, the high school is graduating 174 kids. So let's assume everyone went to the high school and none went to Keefe. Now, we know that's not reality, but let's assume they all did. That's a 70 student increase immediately at the high school. So how does that impact staffing? How does that impact our budget at the high school? So those are all things that we've got to work through as an admin team before we get to the school committee to have those conversations. And how does it impact programming? Those are all really legitimate concerns. I'm still really concerned about our kindergarten class of 172 kids right now.
And how many first graders?
Yeah, and how many first graders we're going to have.
Yeah.
So I'm concerned about those
where
things.
are the 5-year-olds?
Where are they? So just more of an update. That's where we are, thinking about where things are going. Strategic plan stuff is still in the works. Obviously, we had a nice working session this week, and we'll continue that with Hazard Young and Atea, with Prem and Matt. So that's really where we are.
I actually had a question about that. If we now have that new vision statement, when do we adopt that? Do we wait to the?
Yeah.
Do
it's a
we
good
wait
question.
or do
they
we,
want you to adopt it as of when I met with them this morning. They're like, "Are they going to adopt it?"
So
It's not on the agenda.
It's not on the agenda. I said no.
So that's something we should talk about and see. Do we want to
Put
wait
it on the agenda for the next meeting,
we wanna
or
wait,
wait
or
till
do
the
we
Do it
plan.
all together.
Yeah.
If we've landed it, do we want to?
I thought it was going to be all together, but I don't.
That's kind of was my assumption too.
Yeah.
But,
here we are.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's not on
Yeah.
the agenda. Let's not talk about it.
Yeah.
But that's where we are for update.
Okay, thank you. Warrant updates.
All right. Between November 18th, 2022 and December 1st, 2022, I, Paul Kendall, authorized by my signature, payables in the amount of $302,749.06. This includes general fund expenses of $160,492.68, revolving expenses of $140,128.40, and grant expenses of $2,127.90.
Thank you. Minutes, October 20th. Anybody? Motion?
Move to approve the minutes of October 20th, 2022 as presented.
I'll second.
All in favor, Aaron?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Tina?
Aye.
Aye. And then November 17th? I do not have anything? No? Motion?
I'll move to approve the minutes of November 17th, 2022 as presented.
Second.
And then all in favor, Aaron? Yeah? Paul?
Aye.
Tina?
Aye.
Aye.
And then do we have gifts and donations?
We do. We have a few. Ohio Pile Prints, general gifts and donations, $108.44. Planet Aid, general gifts and donations, $348.60. AFI, $5,000 to the Warren School for dynamic seating options. $500 from Alliance Energy to Warren School Math and Science support. Ashland K-12 PTO, $1,768 to Warren School Art. And Planet Aid, again, general gifts and donations, $259 for a total of $7,984.04.
Question, is the PTO gift, is that for something specific that they were doing? Is
Yeah, it's for their Square One art
Okay,
program.
because I was
Yeah,
going to
sorry,
say,
yeah.
that's a big chunk, so I
It
was
is,
like.
yep, no, that's, yeah.
It's typically
It's
associated
orange
with
school art,
something, yeah.
Yep, that's what it is. So.
Motion to accept the gifts and donations.
So moved?
Second,
All in favor, Paul?
aye.
Tina?
Aye.
Aaron?
Aye.
Aye for me. Committee reports of activities, member updates. Anybody?
I have one. So the Tuesday before Thanksgiving was the health day at the Warren School. And a part of that, Jess Malone organized, I believe it was 4 or 5 therapy dogs to go to the school. And I was asked to bring Gus. And it was awesome. I mean, Gus has not been in a school for 3 years because of COVID. And so the fact that, our policy is able to flex to be able to let him go was great. Seeing the kids, seeing some of the inclusion classrooms and seeing the needs firsthand was actually really good because I don't have a kiddo in those younger grades anymore. But I wanted to, when the kids come and visit us or they bring artwork or they sing or whatever. So I visited a lot of the first grade classrooms, and one of my neighbors happened to be in one of the classrooms and then sent home thank you notes. And I don't know if you guys can see some of these
Yes.
drawings.
Very cute.
Okay,
Aw.
these are they're
That's some
first
good artists.
graders.
Yeah.
Right. So I picked out some of the best ones. These are first grade drawings. So
Very
we
nice.
have, do not give me bunny ears. So Gus and he was.
I don't exist.
He was very tired by the end of the day. I think we were there 3 hours. But it was really good. And we talked about keeping yourself safe around dogs, especially dogs you don't know. And then what type of work dogs can do and how they can make us feel better.
Awesome. Thanks, Erin. That's great. Who's next? Anybody?
I don't really have any updates. I did recently have a conversation that I'm hoping to bring to the board. With a friend of mine is actually the executive director at Daniel's Table, and they have a program where they do these community freezers so that they have meals available for families in need. I think it would be a great program to bring here to Ashland. So I don't have many details to share yet, but I'm hoping to make it a broader conversation, something that we can bring to Ashland as well.
Yeah.
I saw one of the trucks today, actually, driving around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to know more about that. I thought they only did it in Framingham.
Yeah, no, they're
But
definitely open to expanding.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Awesome.
I'm not sure, since the last time we met in this forum, what's gone on. So obviously I've invited this board, select board, planning board, and FinCom for a site walk at Mendez on Saturday. Lots of progress going on there. We have a parking lot now, so that's a big deal. The exterior sheathing is up. Their masonry's still working on doing a lot of that. The windows arrived. They're not in, but many of the windows have arrived, and some of the framing on the interiors coming along. So, what else am I forgetting, Jim?
No.
I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, if you get an opportunity, love to see you there Saturday. It's really, Paul and I went through, was it yesterday?
I don't know.
I don't remember. Yeah, the days come together.
It's been a long week already, yeah.
So it's really, I hadn't been in since before Thanksgiving, and it's just amazing. Yeah, it's coming. You can now get a sense of what it's going to feel like. Yeah, it's really cool.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
I'll be there.
great.
Thanks.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right. If nobody else has anything, then we can take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Paul? Tina?
Aye.
Aaron?
Sorry,
Aye for
sorry,
me.
sorry, Malcolm.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Good night.
See you next time.